all substances can be poison, and poisons can be medicinal. But in beauty, poisons are slathered all over our skin and inhaled daily as if they were nutrients. Let's talk about smells. I heard this a lot in beauty school, that like, the world is just chemicals. Everything is chemicals. So it's okay to put chemicals on your face. Just because there are some chemicals in the world that are good doesn't mean all chemicals are good. BPA was originally developed to address reproductive concerns, and then later it was found out it makes plastics hard, so they started putting it in everything, and that chemical is not good. So I find that argument flimsy. Synthetic fragrances have been produced since like the 1700s. The first one was called Fougère Royale, which means royal fern. Ferns don't have a smell. And this was the first fragrance to use a synthetic chemical called coumarin. Later, some guy experimenting with explosives discovered that some chemicals he exploded smelled like musk. And so then a bunch of perfumes came out, synthetic fragrances. The Secret of Scent. The author describes smelling a peach smell made by one of the big perfume manufacturers. They make these blocks that are like basic smells that you can combine to develop perfumes. He talks about smelling this little piece of paper, but it was like a big fluorescent giant peach. So it was a lie. What does that mean, existentially speaking, to smell something that's not there, that has no basis in reality? How does that mess with that makes me think of like having vertigo or something, like your inner gyroscope is all out of whack. If you're smelling somebody's essential oil, some sort of like natural, intact, complex botanicals, you're smelling something real that grew in the ground and was extracted, but it wasn't like dismantled and put back together in weird Frankenstein ways. Luxury fragrances that are named after emotions are lies. So you're smelling lies. And we don't know how that throws us off kilter. But think about your personal relationship with artificial flavors. There's a very normal conversation around how artificial flavors are not good, and people don't really want to eat them. We do. It's kind of hard to avoid them sometimes. I personally go through periods where I'm militant about avoiding that stuff, and right now I'm working a retail job, so I just eat whatever's in front of me. But we all can agree that artificial flavors aren't great for us. So why the artificial perfumes? And they're in everything. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to spray on perfume. The smells are everywhere. It's really hard to buy a product, especially if it's like some sort of cleaning product or personal care product that doesn't have an artificial fragrance in it. And our sense of smell is important. We don't regard it as important as tasting something, drinking something. But smell is our chemical sense. And plants communicate and give us information via smell. The whole world gives us information through smell, in the same way that food is information. Information that we take into our bodies affects our bodies. You don't get to have a synthetic fragrance experience, smelling experience, without it affecting your body eventually. Synthetic fragrances like that Hindu god who drank the milk from the breasts of a demon disguised as a woman. Paracelsus says that all substances can be poison, and poisons can be medicinal, depending on the context. But in beauty, poisons are slathered all over our skin and inhaled daily as if they were nutrients or harmless unguents. The Encyclopedia Britannica defines poison as a means of discouraging competition, dispatching enemies, securing prey. To the Egyptians, the nose was the most important orifice of the body, and it was treated with utmost care in the mummification process, and it was considered essential to survival in the afterlife, a portal bridging spirit and matter. There's a theory that the brain developed out of primitive olfactory sensors, and our noses can perceive 10,000 more signatures than the tongue. And think about the stereotype about detectives sniffing out things, having a nose for information. We get so much information from our noses, and we're desensitizing ourselves in this world of artificial smells. I use a blank soap. It's not even unscented. It's just a blank Dead Sea mineral soap. It doesn't have a smell. I love fun smells, but when you stop insisting on a life filled with so many fake smells, what you'll eventually find is now you can actually smell the world One legend says that when Marie Antoinette was fleeing Paris to escape beheading, her perfume is what gave her away.